Okay, good afternoon. It is time for the July 2018 edition of Heritage and History with Maureen Taylor and
Amy Johnson Crow.
So thank you for joining us. And this is a Be Live platform, which means it is interactive and you can join us and you can ask us questions live and we will attempt to answer them live. If not, we'll answer them later on our Facebook pages.
Exactly.
So, Amy, we have an agenda that we usually follow, which is things like in the news, books we're reading, new cool things we might have seen, little updates on sort of other things that we're doing, and some websites.
So yeah, we've got a pretty full agenda today.
We have a very full agenda today. We've been busy.
Yeah, it's been a busy summer already.
Summer is supposed to be relaxing, and I have just decided I have reached the absolute limit of projects.
Yeah.
And no one else can ask me to volunteer and help them with their local projects. Not a single another one. There isn't any space.
There's no space between now and a long time from now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm involved in a grant project. We're doing this thing called Sites and Stories, which is endangered properties and artistic representations. So local artists submitted proposals as to how they would interpret those endangered properties. And now we're in the process of, we actually have selected and telling people which people won. And we've got performance art and painting and sculpture, and
that's cool.
The artistic brain.
Yeah.
There's that. There's like a little history committee I'm on. Somebody else just said, "Oh, can you write a history of the theaters in Providence?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, sure, no problem." My spare time while I'm supposed to be sleeping.
And sleep is highly overrated. Highly
overrated. June is saying morning to us, but also asking me would I do a small project for her. No. The next person that asks me, the answer is no. I have enough to do. But I love my client projects. Yeah. These are all extra volunteer projects.
Yeah.
What about you, Amy? What else do you work on other than?
Oh my goodness.
I know you do. I know it.
Yeah. I mean, well, my big thing right now is getting ready for this Saturday where we're having a family reunion. And this is the first time that my cousins have gotten together outside of a wedding or funeral in, I can't remember when. I mean,
mom's side or dad's side?
Dad's side. This is on my dad's side. And we're doing, we've kind of extended it to both my paternal grandfather's side and my paternal grandmother's side. So we are going wide on the cousins. So it's going to be interesting because, like I said, it's been years and years and years since we've even attempted to do a family reunion. So yeah, wish me luck. And of course, it's in an outdoor park. We do have a shelter house rented, but it's also supposed to be 92 degrees.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Right. So my mom's side of the family, actually one of her siblings who had 5 children, and they've had children, and those children have children, and those children have children. We go to a family funeral, there's 100 people, and people look to me and I don't know them. I just don't.
Well, and that's the thing, because one of my cousins said, "Oh, well, I got in touch with Edith, and she and her husband are coming," and I'm like, "Who's Edith? I have no idea who Edith is."
And we're the genealogists.
I'm the genealogist. I have no idea who Edith is.
I know. I'm drawing on napkins. I'm like, okay, so let's do a little pedigree chart, and here's a little, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, look at this. June is like, you have to buy necklace fans.
Yeah.
For your reunion, Amy.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So my mom's family reunion, or her sister's reunion, of which we're invited because it's just us and we're small, is this coming Saturday. But I'll be in Pittsburgh on a family history junket with my husband, with his aunt, traveling around looking at his father's and his father's family's sort of
Uh-huh.
stomping grounds. But in 2 weeks, we have a family reunion for his mother's side of the family. And it is about 50 people. It's always a destination reunion. So it's every other year. And this is the year. But the family, again, has gotten big enough that I was talking to my sister-in-law, and she's like, I don't really remember all those kids. Are you following all of them on Facebook? And I'm like, yes, this one has this kid, but I can't remember the other kid. I've only got some of the kids. So she decided we're going to do a descendancy chart from the two people that started this reunion. And so actually today is Thursday, and she told me on Monday I was going to get that information. I was supposed to put together the chart.
Yeah, and that's something I want to get printed up before Saturday. Yeah.
Exactly. I at least have 2 more weeks.
Oh, I have like 2 days.
Yeah, exactly. But it's awfully fun. And we were thinking somebody online said, or somebody, my friends or whatever, said they had used different color name tags for the descendants from different families.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to try to do.
Yeah.
Because otherwise we're going to have no clue how anybody fits in.
Yeah. My dad's family is very small. Everybody's gone. And I've been spending the summer working on his family tree and just reconnected with a cousin I've only seen twice. So my dad and his mother were quite close. They were first cousins, but we only saw each other. And now we all live in a state that you can drive across in an hour. But that's the way it goes. And what was cool is my husband said, oh, I've met all your cousins on, my mom's side. And he was like, you're nothing like them. You don't look like them or anything. But the other night, after going to see this long lost cousin who collects menus for doing scientific studies with, I don't know, fish and food and prices and all that kind of stuff. He's like, I can see where you get this now. This photo thing, he's got that menu thing going. It's very funny.
That's cool.
Anyway, so yeah, we all have reunions coming up. Yeah. It's a big, big month for reunions. So where should we start?
Well, one thing that, and honestly, part of me hesitates to recommend this because I haven't actually started reading it yet. But I met the author. I went to the American Library Association conference a couple weeks ago. It was awesome. And I actually met the author of this book called Private Lucky. And the author is Melissa Guzetta. I'll hold this up again. Private Lucky. It's a true story. Of this man she actually used to live next door to. And once she started hearing his story from World War II, she's like, this needs to be a book. He was born in the Netherlands before World War II. The family came to the United States, lived here for just, a few years, and then they went back to the Netherlands right before World War II really broke out. And it's his story of how he avoided being conscripted by the Nazis because, he's
Netherlands.
Because he's in the Netherlands and he's, a young man at this point and, they're swooping up everybody. So he goes into hiding. He finally makes his way back to the States, and how he got to be, because he wanted nothing more than to be a fighter pilot.
Oh.
And so he ends up, I think, in the Army Air Corps in the United States as and so his whole story of going back and forth and being in hiding, but then going into the military, and it just sounded really, really intriguing. In fact, the subtitle is One Man's Unconventional Journey from the Horrors of Nazi Occupation to the Fulfillment of a High-Flying American Dream.
Wow.
So, like I said, I part of me hesitates to recommend it because I haven't started reading it yet, but I'm just so intrigued by the story, and so that's what I'm getting ready to start reading.
I would totally love to go to ALA. Yeah. So we have 2 comments. Deb Jeter Andrew gave us some advice for posting on Facebook. So when she posts things, she tells us who they are, what part of the family surnames, and how they are connected. That's great. It's great.
Yeah, and we've been doing that. We actually have a closed cousins Facebook group, and we've been doing that. And I bet it's going to get a lot of activity next week.
Maybe I should do that.
Yeah, it works out really well.
For my husband's family, they were supposed to do that, but maybe I'll just do it, even though I'm an in-law.
Yeah.
But and then June says, guess what? Your book is downloadable on Kindle for free.
Oh, it's in Kindle Unlimited. Nice.
Kindle Unlimited. Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
So what am I reading? Well, I took on a big task this summer. Let's show this, and we're going to make us smaller. I decided to try to read more of David McCullough's books.
Oh, he's fabulous.
He's fabulous. And, I just heard him in, I think it was April, at an event for the New England Historic Genealogical Society. I swear to God, I could listen to that man talk all day long. He's just got one of those voices. So there are several books of his that I've already read, the Wright brothers being my absolute favorite. And of course I've read the Johnstown Flood, which is great because that's where we're going this weekend. When we're out in the Pittsburgh area, we're going to Johnstown, which is where my father-in-law grew up.
Nice.
And where the family was. So that's good. And there's some others I've read, 1776, of course. But I decided, I went somewhere and everybody told me their favorite David McCullough book was Truman.
Oh.
And I really don't read 20th century history or mid 20th century history. So I went to the bookstore and thought, I'll pick up Truman. And then I realized it was so large that there's
he does not write short books.
Right. There's no way I'm going to be lugging that book around.
Yeah.
So I downloaded it to my Kindle.
I was going to say, that's why we have Kindles.
That's why we have Kindles. And it's Stephen McCullough, right? Yeah. So just the way he writes, you can hear his voice in your head. But he starts with the settlement of Missouri.
Of course.
Of course. Why not? So it's fabulous. But I think that will be my only book of McCullough's for the summer.
Yeah, that'll carry you through.
Yeah, I don't think there's enough hours in the day to go through the rest of his book. I'm not really a presidential person, so this will be interesting to read. And John Adams, of course.
Well, yeah.
It's so fabulous. All right. So that's what we're reading in the month of July. Do you want me to talk about this fun little product I saw when I was out doing errands this morning?
Yes.
Okay. So there is no longer, and probably I'm late to the party on this, but there is no longer any reason for you not to have to print out your significant family photos. You can now do it, and probably have been able to do it for a while, right directly from your iPhone to your printer, wherever it is. So as you're on vacation or rummaging around, you can make prints for people and hand them out. I know that might be old school, but I'm a big believer that you should print your photos. And the thing that really got my attention this morning was the printer was $69.
Oh,
which I thought was a very good price.
Nice.
Very good. We have and somebody's saying hi to us from Denver, Carol. Singer.
Hi.
I have to move this screen up and down. All right. So that's what I thought was a very cool little device if you're out and about.
And it's portable?
It appears to be portable.
Huh.
I know there are portable ones. I have to look into it a little bit more.
Yeah.
When I travel, I use TouchNote. It's an app. I don't know if I mentioned this before for the phone. It costs $1.99 each picture, and I buy sort of a block, and it allows me to send postcards to people.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I tend to send postcards to my mom when I'm out and about. She likes getting a little mail.
That's neat.
What else would we like to talk about? We talked about the photo printer. We talked about our books. You want to talk about that wonderful website you found?
Yeah, let's talk about a website that I've been playing around with a little bit, and I have no connections to the city of Chattanooga that I know of, but but the Chattanooga Memory Project, and there are a lot of different memory projects out there from various libraries or
Sure.
historical societies or whatnot. But I really like what they're doing in Chattanooga. It was the platform that they're using here was developed by a company you might be familiar with called Pass It Down. And Pass It Down started as a company. They had they still have an app and also a website where you can record family memories and share them with family members. They also have this wonderful set of actual physical cards that act kind of as story prompts.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I'm sure you've had this, Maureen, you talk to your mom and she's like, well, I don't have any stories. Well, this is, they're really good to get those stories going. So I've been a big fan of Pass It Down for a long time. Well, they've branched out and they're starting to work now with libraries and with different corporations to start to get the stories of a community or the stories of a company.
Mm.
And their first really big project is this Chattanooga Memory Project, where people can, they can upload photos and they can tell stories. And I love how they go in and they geotag things. So if you're interested just in a certain neighborhood, you can see things just for that neighborhood, which I think is really cool.
God.
Yeah, they've got a map. I know.
So how do you find things on the story map? Oh, I see. Oh,
yeah,
God.
things are pinned and you can just start clicking. Yeah.
Yeah, so they're using Google Maps.
Yeah, or some sort of integration, and then the pictures that people upload and the stories along with them, and then it's searchable. And I think we're going to see, obviously this is a great site if you do have any connections to the city of Chattanooga, Tennessee, or if you're interested in something like civil rights or a broader topic and you just want to see how that topic played out in a city like Chattanooga, you can certainly use that too for that social history. But I think that we're going to be seeing more and more of these types of sites popping up.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Which I can't really talk about right now, but yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, everybody's beating me to the punch. That's when I have to remember.
Yeah.
I like the interface very much.
Yeah, it's really cool. I really like that. So yeah, I've been playing around over there. Just even though I don't have people from Chattanooga, it's just I like what they're doing, and I'm excited to see what else they have in store.
I think it's very cool to see what these sites look like so that you can imagine what might be possible when you're doing something for some other project.
Yeah.
Or when you're doing research. We have an international watcher today. We do not have Deborah Stock. Maybe she's on vacation.
Oh, no.
She always watches. But we have Liv she's actually Norwegian, but she's watching from Hamburg, Germany, and she's going to the Immigration Museum. See her at the conferences. Hide current comment. Here we go. My website, I know you're all going to laugh because it's one we're all familiar with, which is Find a Grave. And you're thinking, why would Maureen talk about Find a Grave when we all know about Find a Grave, right? So it's
always worth a review.
It is, because I had sort of given up on Find a Grave. None of my people were ever listed. And then I went on a little family history junket of my own one Friday afternoon, thinking I would come up with some new information on a branch of my dad's family. And the librarian pulled up Find a Grave and he said, oh, look, the guy's got a gravestone over in the cemetery down the street. And I was like, there's never any of my family on Find a Grave. And I use it, I know about it, but it's always like, oh, sigh, my family's never there. And in fact, now they are. And so now I'm an avid user of Find a Grave.
Nice.
Yeah, very nice. But, and I'm using this as a lesson to say that just because you've looked in the past and haven't found what you needed, guess what? There's new stuff being added all the time.
Yep.
Somebody who's watching actually gave us another website that they thought we should look at, called map.walknewburyport.com for the If This House Could Talk map. Oh, that's cool. So
that
it's an
sounds
interactive
interesting.
house tour.
Ooh.
Ooh, I'm gonna have to check that out.
Oh yeah.
That would be very cool. I don't think I can. Let me try to open it for us. Give me a minute. So Amy, can you just tell me the URL?
Map.walknewburyport.com.
Oh, okay. So let me try to push that to the screen. Share your desktop screen. Share the Chrome tab. Share. Can you see that? Now you can. So this is a Google map, and you click on a house. Wasn't that interesting? Where's the? Oops.
Wrong way.
Right. It just tells you. Zoom in. What happens when you zoom in? I'm not quite sure how this works, but we'll play with it and see.
We'll play with that. That looks interesting.
It looks like an online historical walking tour kind of map.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of interesting. Here in Rhode Island, we have something called roadie tours, and they're on your phone. And so you can take a walking tour on your phone. I just canceled that out. And let's see, June is entering grave sites to find a grave, which is nice. Thank you, June. I wish you were in Taunton, Massachusetts. I walked all over that cemetery that day and didn't find the stone. I've been doing a lot of walking, Amy. I went to the Brimfield Antique Show this week, which I don't know if you know about that, but I've heard of it. Miles along one stretch of a road in Western Mass. And then it's not just along the road, it's deep in the field as well. So you spend a lot of time going and finding things. I did find 2 more photographs of last muster people.
Awesome.
I know, they were just sitting in a bin.
What?
Yeah, they were sitting in a bin and somebody didn't know what they were. And had names on the back. And I'm kicking myself now because there were copies of the image. Yeah. And I didn't buy the copies. I only bought the 2 identified ones. I should have bought the rest of them.
Yeah.
I'm kicking myself, but it's too far to drive. Definitely too far for me to drive to go back there and just see if I could find the rest of them and then figure out which booth I bought them in the first place. I was going to say, that's the other question. Where did I find this? And so every Sunday I go to the little flea market. We have something here called the Providence Flea. And 2 weeks ago I went. And this little baby was sitting in a booth. This is, let's see what the tag says, a Kodak Petite folding camera. It is aqua green, Art Deco design. Where's the Art Deco? On the bottom.
I love that.
Yes, it's a woman's camera.
Oh.
So I often talk about color-coded cameras, and this year I actually found 2 color cameras, but this one is my personal favorite. It's so cute. Can you imagine, like, swinging this along your arm while you're dressed in aquamarine?
Well, I was going to say, and it's got the cool little cover on it when it's collapsed, and that's...
Yeah, it doesn't really collapse anymore.
Doesn't really collapse? Oh, I thought it...
But it used to. Picture, this is the thing that you don't think about. When you think about all of those little snapshots in those black paper albums, you see this little thing right here? So to take the picture, you have to look through that little thing, and then it's this teeny little blurred. And
so the viewfinder isn't in the back of the camera, it's that little thing on top.
Right. And then you click this thing here. That's your shutter right there. So you have to be really still. It's amazing anybody got any photographs whatsoever.
Seriously. Wow. That's so cool.
I know, it's so cool. Oh, oh my goodness. I opened the world with Find a Grave. So June is concentrating in Sutton, New Hampshire. She's telling me how I can put in a photo request. Yes, I know. I have that on my list, but I feel a little embarrassed since it's a 20-minute drive to the cemetery. I should probably just do it myself, June. And then, yep, here we go. Diane says, if you know where your family are, have death certificates that usually tells you where they're buried and you can enter them yourself. These do not say where they're buried, unfortunately. Otherwise, I would have been there already. But it's a nicely cared for and trimmed cemetery, so I didn't have to worry about getting any ticks.
Oh, that helps.
That does, because I didn't have any bug spray with me.
Yeah.
You had some things in the news to talk about, which is?
Well, coming up in the end of August, well, the 22nd to the 25th of August in Fort Wayne, Indiana, we have the Federation of Genealogical Societies Conference. And I know you're going to be there, Maureen.
I will be there.
Yes, you will. And I will be there. And they actually have now, registration is staying open a long time. But if you want to save some money, and who doesn't want to save money on registration, because then you can spend more in the exhibit hall?
Yes, please come to the exhibit hall.
Yeah.
That's the thing about Allen County. Do you really want to be in the exhibit hall or do you want to be in the library?
Well, now that's the cool thing about how they did the program this year, because this year there's a keynote each morning.
Yes.
And immediately following each day's keynote, there's a block of time where there are no other sessions and the exhibit hall will be open.
Am I doing the genealogy, the vendor happy dance?
You're doing vendor happy dance.
Yes.
Because really, it's not going to be enough time to go over to the library and do a good chunk of research, but it's the perfect amount of time to go through the exhibit hall.
Is the library going to be open later, like at night or anything?
I don't know. Let me look.
I'd like to know that.
But one thing that I was going to say about the FGS conference is that if you register before next Wednesday, that's July 18th, if you register before then, you get a discount on your registration. So go either to fgs.org or to fgsconference.org. There are links in both places. But I'm looking here.
Because I'm stuck in that exhibit hall. Not stuck, because I know that you'll all come visit me. Bring me photos or say hi or chat. But I will tell you that if nobody comes to visit me, where I would really rather be is in the library.
Well, there are no evening hours in the exhibit hall. So yes. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday closes at 5, and Saturday the exhibit hall closes at 3. And just to be real clear, I know that there's some misconceptions about the FGS conference because it's the Federation of Genealogical Societies. That's right. There's this myth going around that you have to belong to a genealogy society to be eligible. Totally not true.
No, it's an open conference.
Yeah, anybody can go to the FGS conference, and there's going to be some really fantastic speakers. I mean, you're speaking, I'm speaking. There's Blaine Bettinger.
Who else do you need?
Yeah, it could just be you and me, and it'd be worth it.
Right.
But there also happens to be, Judy Russell and Blaine Bettinger, Lisa Louise Cook, just a lot of really good speakers and some fun topics, some really good fun topics. So hope to see everybody. But yeah, again, if you register before July 18th, you get a discount on your registration.
Very cool. And that's fgs.org.
Yeah, you can just go to fgs.org. That's probably the easiest to remember.
That's great. Well, we're still going with the Find a Grave comments. Sherry Lynn said, I had a very kind soul find an old grave in Nelson, British Columbia. It was very hard to find in a remote section of the cemetery. And yes, Sherry, we should always credit those who do us a kindness when we post an image online. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And then Robin is saying that her and her sister used Find a Grave to find the location of our ancestors in Deadwood and Pierre, South Dakota.
Nice.
Nice. Very nice.
I've always wanted to go to Deadwood just to say I went to Deadwood.
I haven't been to South Dakota yet.
I haven't either. That's one list. I'm kind of missing the Great Plains.
Right. So I don't have, let's do a count. This is how much we travel, right?
Yes.
I have not been. I missed one of the conferences in Arkansas, so I have this like hole in Arkansas. North Dakota, South Dakota, Montana,
I've been to
Idaho,
Montana.
and Hawaii.
Wow, your list is much shorter than mine because
That's all
I'm missing both Alaska and Hawaii. I'm missing Idaho. Now think about it. As many times as I've been to Salt Lake, and I've never just driven up to Idaho long enough to have lunch so I can
Okay, so
claim it.
here's the deal.
Yeah.
Roots Tech.
Yes.
We're going
But
to Idaho.
weather.
It's
because really in
always
Salt Lake,
snowy.
because the great thing about Salt Lake, I was looking at a map.
Yeah.
It's not that far from Idaho, and it's also not that far from Wyoming. I haven't been to Wyoming.
I agree
either.
to come in a day early.
Come in a day early and go to Idaho?
Yeah, let's go to Idaho.
Okay.
Why
not?
I'm sure we can find something to do. Lunch, an antique shop.
Yeah, something. Just
here we go. Carol's encouraging us. Salt Lake City to Boise is a nice drive.
Yeah, the only thing is
we'll get Janet Havorka to take us.
Yeah, that's an idea.
Janet.
Road trip.
Yeah, road trip. And then here we go, another find a grave. Sometimes in my local cemetery, when I'm there taking pictures, I find headstones which are covered with soil, and I have to uncover and wash them off.
Yeah.
We do have a little plot in the back of this big cemetery. It's called Walnut Hill. And there's a lot of my Kelly ancestors buried there. And the cemetery's in terrible shape. But at this time of the year, I'm not really interested in going there. There's too many bugs.
Yeah.
I'll wait till winter.
Yeah.
Let that foliage die off.
You don't want to mess with ticks.
Oh, look at this. Come on, Robin. Do it, Amy. It's pretty cool.
Well, you know, if one thing about it, if you go to Salt Lake and the weather is bad, darn, you go to the library.
I know. Well, one year I almost got stuck out there because of the snow. But another year I went out there and it was like 50 degrees.
Oh, yeah. It's amazing. They have Roots Tech like in February or early March, and it's like, it's either really, really cold or really, really warm.
Right. So I say we wait and see. But I'm up for a road trip.
Okay, that works.
We could do a Heritage and History live from
in Idaho.
In Idaho. We can take you all with us.
Road trip.
All right. I know, road trip. All right. So it is time for, I think we've covered everything, although we did have a question for you that we wanted to ask you in general, all of you that are watching, and that will watch this later, is there's a lot of talk lately about stories online and social media, which is Facebook stories or Instagram stories. And I have to admit, I have enough trouble just keeping up with the feeds that I tend not to watch the stories. But we want to know what you think of them. And if you even, have thought about them. Amy, do you use the stories?
I don't use the stories on Facebook, either to create them or to watch them. I just don't think of Facebook that way. On the other hand, Instagram, I really enjoy Instagram stories.
Sometimes. I've created a couple, but
yeah, I like creating them. I think it's just a fun way. I do them a lot when I'm traveling, and I kind of take people, with me as I go along. So that's kind of fun. And there's some people who I really enjoy watching their stories because they do a good job of pulling it together and making it enjoyable. And then there's some that, because when you go into an Instagram story, you can see how many little segments there are. And and they only last for 24 hours.
Right. So they're gone.
Right. So they're gone. But sometimes there will be, I'm just scrolling through and I'll find this person that I follow on Instagram and they have a story, but there's like 74 little episodes of it. It's like, no, we're not even, we're just going to go to the next one because I'm not going to sit here through, 74 little installments of this. It's not a thing.
Right. Well, generally the comments are, a couple of people commented and said they don't look at them either.
Yeah, it's especially on Facebook.
Oh my goodness. Oops. For somebody creating a
by accident.
Yolanda, that would happen to, it would easily happen to either of us.
Yeah.
We have another cemetery comment. These some good comments today. Couldn't find our third great grandfather. They told us the cemetery had moved, and that last year they found 3 unidentified bodies.
Oh.
DNA.
Back in the day, and I can't think of her name, Desmond Walls Allen.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, remember she?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she did a talk, and this was really before there were any real consumer DNA tests. I mean, this was like back in the late 90s. She gave this banquet talk called Core Sampling Grandma.
Ooh.
And she thought that, and it was a humorous take on what she thought the future genealogy was going to be, and how people were going to be arrested for digging up grandma to get the DNA, and it was core sampling grandma.
Yeah, we pretty much do it now.
We pretty much do that now.
Do it now. We have somebody who is giving us encouragement to go. Somebody is like saying she did a video on her family group page of all of our veterans. Oh, that's a nice idea.
I like that.
That is a very nice idea. But Amy, somebody has said, here we go.
Yeah.
If you go to Wyoming or Montana for a day, you will want to return for a month.
I've been to Montana. I was in Montana fall. It would have been the fall of 2016. Yeah. Montana is a beautiful
state. Was that a vacation or a conference?
No, I was speaking to the Montana State Genealogical Society.
You took my place.
Did I take your place?
Because I got sick.
Oh.
I was too sick to go.
I'm sorry.
I missed going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, ooh. It was me with Judy Russell. So we joked that they thought that they were getting Russell Crowe, and instead they got Russell and Crowe.
Very funny.
Yeah.
Very funny.
Yeah, we don't get to use that joke very often, so we milk it when we can.
Of course. Now, it's time for us to end for today, but let's just put up August. I have it in my calendar, Amy, that we are back on Heritage and History on August 9th, 1 p.m.
Oh,
sound good?
Actually, probably not.
Ooh, never mind.
Well, no, we might still be able to make it work, although I have to check to see when my flight to Missouri lands.
Oh, well, we'll just do another time. Okay. we'll talk offline about that. Oops.
Yeah. Oops. Yeah, that is the second Thursday, isn't it? Yeah. No, I'm speaking to the Missouri State Genealogical Association that weekend at their annual conference in Columbia, Missouri. So if any of you are going to be in Columbia, Missouri, pop on over.
Okay. Well, we will have to decide when we're going to do that.
Yeah.
And
we'll let y'all know.
Yeah, we'll let y'all know. It'll post. And anyway, thank you so much for joining us today. I still will be reading Truman next month. Without a doubt.
Probably.
All right. Have a good rest of July.
Bye, everyone.